My boyfriend Derek and I moved into our apartment last October. It was perfect, newly renovated, hardwood floors, big windows, and the price was unbelievable for downtown Chicago. The only downside was that it was on the first floor, and the landlord mentioned the upstairs tenants kept to themselves. We met them once. Mr. and Mrs. Chen. An elderly couple, probably in their 70s. They were polite but brief when we introduced ourselves in the lobby. Mrs. Chen had kind eyes but didn't smile. Mr. Chen just nodded and guided his wife toward the elevator. We figured they were just private people. That was fine with us. The problem started 2 weeks after we moved in. The footsteps. Every night, starting at exactly 2:17 a.m., we'd hear them walking upstairs. Slow, methodical steps. Back and forth across their apartment. The same path, over and over. Living room to bedroom. Bedroom to kitchen. Kitchen to living room. On repeat for exactly 1 hour. Derek slept through it. He could sleep through anything. But I'm a light sleeper, and those footsteps drove me insane. I tried earplugs. I tried white noise machines. Nothing worked. I could feel the vibrations through the ceiling. After a week of this, I went upstairs to politely ask if they could maybe walk quieter at night. I knocked on their door. Mrs. Chen answered. She looked confused when I explained about the footsteps. "We're in bed by 9 p.m., she said softly. "We don't get up during the night. My husband has trouble with his legs. He can barely walk even during the day." I didn't know what to say. Was she lying? But why would she? She seemed genuinely puzzled. "Maybe it's the building settling," she offered. "Old pipes. Things expand and contract." I thanked her and went back downstairs. But that night, at 2:17 a.m., the footsteps started again. And this time, I paid closer attention. They weren't random. They followed a specific pattern. 12 steps from one end of the apartment to the other. A pause. Then 12 steps back. Over and over. And there was something else. A dragging sound. Like someone was pulling something heavy across the floor. I woke Derek up. Made him listen. He heard it too this time. "That's weird," he admitted. "But babe, they're old. Maybe one of them is sleepwalking? Or maybe they have a caretaker who comes at night." I wanted to believe that. But the next morning, I ran into Mr. Chen in the lobby. He was in a wheelchair. His legs were wrapped in compression bandages. He couldn't have been the one walking. I started recording the sounds on my phone. I needed proof that I wasn't imagining this. The recordings were clear. Footsteps. 12 steps. Pause. 12 steps back. Dragging sound. For exactly 1 hour. Then silence. I took the recordings to the landlord. He listened, frowning. "The Chens have lived there for 30 years, he said. Never had a complaint about noise. Are you sure it's coming from their unit and not somewhere else in the building?" "I'm directly below them. Where else would it be coming from?" He promised to look into it. But nothing changed. The footsteps continued. Every night. 2:17 a.m. to 3:17 a.m. Then Derek noticed something strange. He was working late one night. It was around 2:30 a.m., and he decided to step outside for some air. Our bedroom window faces the back of the building. From the alley, you can see the windows of the apartment above us. The Chen's apartment was dark. Completely dark. No lights. No movement. But the footsteps were happening right at that moment. We could both hear them inside our apartment. Derek pulled out his phone and called the Chen's landline. We'd gotten their number from the building directory. It rang. We could hear it ringing upstairs through our ceiling. It rang 15 times. No answer. But the footsteps didn't stop. Didn't even pause. "This doesn't make sense," Derek said. He was scared now. I could see it in his eyes. If they're not home and no one's answering, then who the hell is walking around up there? We called the police. Told them we suspected someone might have broken into our neighbor's apartment. 2 officers showed up within 20 minutes. We explained the situation. They went upstairs to check. 5 minutes later, they came back down. The Chens are fine, one officer said. Both asleep in bed. They said they gave you permission to call if you were concerned, and they apologize for any noise. But ma'am, sir, there's no one else in that apartment. We checked every room. What about the footsteps? I demanded. You must have heard them. They're happening right now. The officers exchanged glances. We didn't hear anything unusual. Some creaking, but that's normal for a building this old. They left. Derek and I stood in our living room, staring at the ceiling. The footsteps continued. Clear as day. 12 steps. Pause. 12 steps back. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my keys and went upstairs. I didn't knock this time. The door was unlocked. I pushed it open. Mrs. Chen? Mr. Chen? It's your neighbor from downstairs. I'm sorry to intrude, but... I stopped. The apartment was freezing. My breath came out in clouds. And the smell. It was like old flowers and something chemical. Like formaldehyde. The layout was identical to ours, but reversed. I could see into the living room. Mrs. Chen was sitting in a chair by the window. Mr. Chen was in his wheelchair next to her. Both of them were staring at me. I'm sorry, I stammered. The police said you were asleep, but I heard. I mean, there's this noise and I just wanted to. Mrs. Chen smiled. It wasn't the kind smile I'd expected. It was sad. Infinitely sad. You can hear him, she said softly. We were wondering when someone finally would. Hear who? Mr. Chen wheeled himself closer. Our son. Thomas. He died in this apartment 33 years ago. March 17th, 1991. He was 17 years old. My blood turned to ice. I don't understand. He was murdered, Mrs. Chen continued. Right here. In this living room. The man who did it. He made Thomas walk back and forth. He had a gun. He was deciding what to do with him. 12 steps to the living room. 12 steps to the bedroom. Over and over while he thought about it. Finally, at 3:17 a.m., he decided. He shot Thomas. Then he dragged his body into the bedroom. Wrapped it in our son's rug. The police found him 3 days later. They found the killer too. He's in prison. Will be for the rest of his life. I couldn't speak. Couldn't move. But Thomas. Mr. Chen's voice cracked. Thomas never left. Every night, at the time it happened, we hear him. Walking. Just like he did that night. Scared. Not knowing what's about to happen. Reliving the last hour of his life over and over. We've tried everything, Mrs. Chen said. Blessings. Priests. Mediums. Nothing works. He's trapped. And we can't leave him. He's our son. We stay here to be close to him. Even if all we have is the sound of his footsteps. Tears were streaming down her face now. Most people can't hear him. The building has had many tenants. Only a few have ever noticed. You're sensitive. You can hear him. We should have warned you. But we were selfish. We thought if you heard him too, it would mean he's still here. Still real. Not just our grief playing tricks on us. I backed out of the apartment. I don't remember getting down the stairs. I don't remember walking into our unit. But Derek found me sitting on the couch, shaking. I told him everything. We started looking for a new apartment the next day. But before we moved out, something happened that I'll never forget. It was our last night in that apartment. March 16th. I couldn't sleep, knowing what the next night would mark, the anniversary of Thomas's death. At 2:17 a.m., the footsteps started. But this time, they sounded different. Heavier. More desperate. And they weren't stopping at 3:17 a.m. They kept going. 3:30 a.m. 4 a.m. 4:30 a.m. At 5:17 a.m., I heard something new. A sound I'd never heard before in all those weeks of footsteps. Crying. A young man's voice. Sobbing. Please. Please, I don't want to die. Mom. Dad. Where are you? Please help me. The crying went on until sunrise. Then silence. We moved out that morning. Broke our lease. Didn't care about the penalty. But I still think about Thomas. About the Chens, still living in that apartment, listening to their son die every single night. Staying because they can't abandon him. Because those footsteps are all they have left. I drive past that building sometimes. I can't help it. And once, late at night, I parked across the street and looked up at their windows. I could see them. Mr. and Mrs. Chin. Sitting in their living room. Not moving. Just sitting there in the dark. Listening to their son walk. 12 steps forward. 12 steps back. Forever trapped in the last hour of his life. The unexplainable part isn't that a ghost exists. I've come to accept that. The unexplainable part is the love that keeps those parents in that apartment. Year after year. Decade after decade. Choosing to relive their son's murder every single night rather than leave him alone in his eternal terror. Is that love? Or is it another kind of haunting? Are the Chens prisoners of the same moment that trapped Thomas? I don't know. I don't think anyone could know. But I know this. There are worse things than ghosts. There are the people left behind, the ones who hear the echoes and can't let go. The ones who build their lives around an absence, around a sound in the night, around footsteps that will never stop. And maybe that's the real horror. Not what happens after we die, but what happens to those who loved us. How they become ghosts too. Haunting the same spaces. Waiting for a silence that will never come. I don't live in that apartment anymore. But sometimes, at 2:17 a.m., I wake up. And for just a moment, in the quiet of my new bedroom, I swear I can still hear them. 12 steps forward. 12 steps back. Forever.